Pat. Thank you, Matt.
Recording in progress.
All right. Once again, welcome to this meeting of the Mayor and Town Council of Brentwood. This is our work session scheduled for September 2nd, 2025. And we are starting this meeting at 7:02 p.m. And with that being said, I will have our town clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Glenn Harris Jr.
Present.
Councilmember Juan Alomia.
Present.
Councilmember Julia Elrod.
Present.
Vice Mayor Jerry Burgess.
Present, ready to serve.
Mayor Rosita Mira Lopez.
Present.
Town Administrator Shelley Dorsey.
Present.
Police Chief. Then we have our Town Treasurer Shelley Dorsey.
Present.
Town Clerk Larry Moran, present. And lastly, Town Attorney Jason Loach.
Present.
Just for this work session, we don't need to do the pledge. So I'm just gonna skip that and go into the upcoming events. With this, the Citizen Advisory Committee meeting is scheduled for this Thursday, September 4th, 2025 at 7 p.m. at the Community Center. Hispanic Heritage Month event is scheduled for Saturday, September 13 from 4 to 6 p.m. at Bartlett Park, followed by Brentwood Summer Concert Series, which is gonna be ending this September 13 from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And our next meeting is scheduled, the town meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, September 16, 2025 from 6 to 8 p.m. Well, I'm sorry, from at 7 p.m. International Days is scheduled for for October 11, 2025 from 1 to 6 at the Community Center. All right, with that being said, I will move to our presentation for tonight from Public Art Presentation. Shelley, you have an introduction to make.
Yes, I'm sorry, Mayor. I just have a couple of updates or announcements to make. Is that okay?
Okay.
Okay, so our Safe Streets public meeting, that's going to be held September 15th at 6:30 p.m. And that will be in person. And so I invite everyone to come out and participate in that meeting and share their concerns in regards to our streets.
Mm-hmm.
The survey is also coming out. It's in the newsletter. It will be getting posted on the website, social media. Encourage everyone to participate and take the survey. You can do it online. You can do a hard copy, take a picture of it, email it. You can walk it in, whatever works for the resident or the person that's filling it out. I just encourage as many residents as possible to complete the survey and submit that back to Town Hall. We value you as our residents and we value your input, and we do want to hear from you.
Thank you for that, Shelley. So continue on.
Madam Mayor, you got muted.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Shelley, for that update.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just gonna move to the presentation for tonight's meeting. And we know, or probably all of us know Ali. Welcome tonight to this meeting of the Mayor and Council.
Well, thank you all so much for your time. If you give me just a moment, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so that we have something to anchor ourselves and talk through.
Holly, we're having a hard time hearing you, or at least I am.
All right, let me see what I can do.
I think your volume is down.
Okay. Is that any better?
Yes.
They were facing the wrong way, so that's how today's going. So please accept my apologies, everybody. It's that kind of Tuesday. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And as I do, I want to thank you all for your time today and for the opportunity to talk to you and to work on a really lovely project that you all conceived of and have worked through. And so for this project, and Shelley, please, jump in at any point to add. It was my understanding that what we were setting out to do was to enhance Route 1 and through Brentwood, and we were going to do so with public art. And so many opportunities, obviously being anchored in the First Arts District in Maryland, which is exceptional. And the way that we've taken a look at this and started to understand it is we wanted to look first and foremost at impact. Trying to make sure that what we were doing was really bringing to bear that sort of beautiful artistic foreground that I think is envisioned for the area. We also wanted to make sure that while we were doing this, we were getting the most value for this artwork. And so something that the types of artwork that you'll see being suggested can do, they can increase senses of belonging, increase senses of safety, identify important places, and start to delineate public space from private space. And I'll speak a little bit more about that as we go through. But what you are looking at here is a map. And it identifies 13 locations for different interventions throughout the corridor. Sometimes there might be a few things happening at one site, and sometimes it might be a single intervention. But you can start to see that we have some hubs, and we're excited to share with you all what we're looking at. Right. And so the pieces that we started to look at were, how can we give a visual cue that something's going on here? We all know there's so much going on, but so for folks maybe who are passing through, what's that visual indicator? And as we look at this larger regulatory environment in which we work, and knowing that the impetus for this was really to make it implementable and actionable and really tangible quite quickly, we did take a tactic which would be identifying places and spaces that are a little bit that are within the control to work in. And so sidewalk art is a great way to do that. Here locally, just over the line in Mount Rainier, I think you could actually throw a rock at the building, in the post office, is Chalk Riot. And Chalk Riot is run by Chelsea Ritter Sorinen. And Chalk Riot has worked, there are examples of their work here throughout the District of Columbia. In Maryland, they just finished up a beautiful sidewalk mural at Langley Crossroads, just up the way on University Boulevard. And so the idea is that you will see sidewalk art interventions at key locations. And what I have here is actually a quick proposal, 2 concepts for what that might look like. And to share with you all, something that we were looking at is how can we make impact, but also make something that we can add to, that we can scale, that we can grow if we so choose, if there wants to be a future phase or if people feel moved. And so the first concept that Chelsea and her team have put forth is to really draw on these beautiful blue water wildflowers that we see around, and really bringing them to the fore. So inviting people to see the beauty that's right there all around them already, and putting it in place year round. We do know that these beautiful wildflowers are seasonal. So that's one concept. And as she writes, there would be a change in gradient and density of these, so that at bus stops or locations where we would welcome people to linger, we would increase the density. So you'd see more flowers there. And then in between the stops or in different places. There might be one where they're smaller, but you're going to kind of get a bit of a diminishing, and then they'll kind of thicken back up at other spots. So that's concept one. And then the second concept is a bit more of a kit of parts and fits a bit more, I think, with the images that I had shown you previously, where it becomes a set of stencils. You know, and these are some of the stencils that the team was thinking about, really based on place and nature and ecology and the beauty around Brentwood. And you can see how these would start to, you know, be arranged in compositions. There could be different colors, and this could grow over time. Stencils are by design reusable, and kind of they act kind of like stamps in a place where we can't stamp everything. But just to think about that, those become kind of a kit or a visual language that could be used around. And these, again, are very loose concepts. She didn't want anyone to think that these were final designs, but I did share that, you know, you all are excited to get involved in the process. And so we wanted to show some of our earlier thoughts. Then we also, you know, along the corridor, there are many bus stops. We do have shelters at some, which is fantastic, the number of sheltered stops. Not all of our stops are sheltered. And while there are great new signage, you know, identifying the bus stops, you know, is there a way? And so you've got a few examples of bus stops that have had that ground art added to them to really just kind of make that a more welcoming, more dignified, and beautiful experience. We are also looking into freestanding solar bollards for a few of the shelter-less bus stops where we might not be adjacent to an overhead light. Those would be at pedestrian height. And then, so also looking at, you know, what are ways in which we can just kind of introduce beauty and color and joy and kind of a forefront in a corridor that's really, really functional. It does a lot of work, this Route 1 corridor. And so something that we've seen, and I'm sure you all have seen them actually at Franklin's Tiki Bar, are going to be concrete planters that are designed to be able to, if they need to, take a car impact. We do want to be cognizant of safety in all of this. But at the same time, which, as you see in the examples here from Transformer DC, can be painted beautifully. Luther Wright is an artist who has his studio in the Public Storage Studios. And actually, he has been busy. If you go to his Instagram, LW Art, he's actually painting concrete planters for the Largo placemaking event right now. I did not know that was going to happen, but I feel very rooted in, you know, the identification of a really strong artist who's got a history in public art, really understands color and pattern and beauty. And the role of these planters is absolutely beauty. We want that. And additionally, we want to start to delineate public sidewalk from private space. It gets a little confusing in some areas, what's public and what's private, and for pedestrians to know that they are safely divided from private property. So we were looking at a few locations there, and huge kudos to Ms. Shelley Dorsey Washington, who has walked this corridor with me many times now. And so the other part of this is not just identifying artistic interventions, but it was also working with business owners and making sure, you know, they were on board for participating in the project, that it didn't get in the way of any of their vision or what they were seeing. And so while we did talk to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 businesses, we're not going to see that level of participation this round, but I have no doubt that as people see how great this looks, they're going to be hoping for a round 2. So on site 1, I'll just walk quickly through these for you all. On site 1, we're right kind of on the town line, and there's
a lot of public space here. And so the hope was to start to kind of create a visual identifier, a kind of threshold, if you will, kind of a like, welcome, here you are, by painting the length of the sidewalk at that triangle at 38th. And it was also recognized that this is a great location for town signage, and more on the banner, not the monumental gateway sign scale, but would be working directly with Public Works to install some really great posts to hang banners and make sure that town events can be announced. Right across the street at the gas station, oh my goodness, we had such a warm and wonderful welcome from this property owner who was really excited to have, you know, something bright and beautiful happening on the corner. And because cars don't access that corner, you see to the left of the van where there's some orange squares, they really lend themselves to the planters, as well as some sidewalk art at that corner for pedestrians and just folks coming in and out of town. And I'm gonna kind of breeze through these because what you're gonna start to see is it's a bit of a kit of parts, if you will. And so you're gonna see here's a bus stop, and this is one of our bus stops that does not have a shelter. And so I think we would look at locating a solar bollard here, along with painting the sidewalk down below. You also have beautiful artistic bus stops here. And so we wouldn't want to take away from the beauty of that bus stop, but instead we'd be enhancing it with some of the graphics down below the bus stop at Mixed. And then what we see at the Gateway Arts Center, you know, there's a lot of walking path there and some ambiguity about where you walk versus don't walk with striping. And so taking a look at using that sidewalk art as a way to welcome people in and to make it a little bit clearer where it is that you're welcome to walk or not walk. You have another bus stop, and then another local business who gets a shout out for being so excited about the program, Medina Kitchen. And what you start to see here on this corner is one of the examples of where the sidewalk and the parking lot really abut one another closely. And so the introduction of two planters here is again meant to kind of safely separate that public sidewalk space from that private parking lot driving space. And then Little Minor Tacos, also super excited, and they've done a bunch of cute stuff to begin with. But they actually, underneath of their sign, there's an area where we would take up no parking because we're cognizant of that. This is an active local business and we don't want to make their world harder. But there is space there to put one of the planters right up front, again, right there on the street. So you're going to see it really easily. Another unsheltered bus stop here where, again, we would look at a solar bollard and the painting. And then finally, a sheltered bus stop where you would also see a painted sidewalk down below. And Ms. Dorsey Washington, was there anything you wanted to add to what I just presented before? I'm happy to answer any questions that council may have. Oh, Shelley, I think you're muted. I'm sorry.
All right, yeah. So I was saying, I think this is an awesome project. I think this is gonna look beautiful on Rhode Island Avenue. I wish we could have gotten more business participation. And so I'm hoping that, you know, as we start to revive our